Ronald McDonald House serves children and families who travel to Mayo Clinic for life-saving medical care. Today, the house held a donations drive in an effort to give back to those families. KIMT News 3's Samantha Soto has the story.
I'm at the Ronald McDonald House in Rochester, where the charity is teaming up to collect cans for kids. This morning, McNeilus Companies brought out a big dump truck to collect aluminum cans from the community. The quarterly tradition started in 2007. All funds from recycling the cans go back to supporting the children and families who stay at the Ronald McDonald House.
It not only financially supports the children and families who are traveling for vital medical care here in Rochester, but it also helps spread the word to our greater community about the mission of the Ronald McDonald House, and it really encourages people to get involved in other ways.
The Ronald McDonald House collects pop tabs year-round, but making use of the entire can recycles more money. Christine Kirsting with McNeilus says children who stay in the house have a community of support behind them.
People care and people want to do things to help and support you. So just, take comfort in the fact that there is a lot of support around you, even if you're not hearing it or seeing it directly.
McNeilus also has a collection at the front of its facility where people can drop off cans anytime. So far, the partnership has raised nearly $22,000 over the span of the program.
It spreads incredible awareness to our community and just supports children and families in the most important ways.
42,000 pounds of cans have been collected over the 15 years of the event. In Rochester, Samantha Soto, KIMT News 3.
If you didn't get a chance to donate today, well, start saving those cans up. The next Cans for Kids collection date is scheduled for March 19th. A local warming shelter is celebrating its third year in operation. We'll tell you how it's made a difference in the few years it's been open to those seeking shelter from the cold. Plus, COVID-19 vaccine mandates are facing pushback from across the nation. This as more booster shots could be approved by the FDA as early as next week.
KIMT News 3, coverage you can count on. This is KIMT News 3 at 6 Saturday.
That's the time. You know what? I think this works. I feel like, yeah, this is a better vibe. Let's do the box. COVID-19 vaccine mandates going into effect across parts of the U.S. are facing pushback from some Americans. Meanwhile, an FDA advisory panel's recommendation of boosters for the Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccines could be approved as soon as next week. Michael George has the latest from New York.
California Governor Gavin Newsom's COVID-19 vaccine mandate for students won't go into effect for months, but some parents are already protesting, with plans to keep their children home Monday amid calls for a statewide walkout.
The vaccine mandate, I don't think, should be forced upon anybody.
The California mandate covering public, private, and charter schools is set to kick in after full FDA approval of the vaccine for different age groups. In Washington state Friday, Boeing workers turned out in the rain with picket signs protesting the plane maker's vaccine requirement. Some 125,000 Boeing employees must get shots to comply with President Biden's executive order for federal contractors. In Chicago, a vaccine mandate showdown is heating up between the police union chief and the city's mayor. The police union president is urging officers to defy orders to report their vaccine status to the city.
Any sergeant, lieutenant, captain, or above who gives you an order to go in that portal is not valid.
They do so at their peril. Insubordination is not something that we can tolerate.
Saturday, President Biden addressed the toll the coronavirus has taken on law enforcement during a memorial service honoring fallen officers.
Tragically, in the past 2 years, COVID-19 has caused more deaths in the line of duty than all the other causes combined.
And more lines of defense against COVID-19 could come as soon as next week. The FDA and CDC are reviewing an advisory panel's recommendation for Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccine boosters. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
A recent CBS News poll finds that most Americans say a COVID vaccine should be required in workplaces, at restaurants, and on airplanes. President Joe Biden honored fallen heroes at the 40th Annual National Peace Officers Memorial Service today. During the service, Biden vowed to move forward with policing reform, saying the profession is called on to do too much. In his remarks, the president praised the Capitol police officers for their heroism during the January 6th Capitol insurrection, and he spoke about the many lives lost in 2020 and 2019.
2020 was the deadliest year for law enforcement on record. And today, we're here to remember nearly 500 of your brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, sons and daughters. 2019 and 2020, we lost so much.
Governor Tim Walz ordered all Minnesota flags to be flown at half-staff at all state and federal buildings today in honor of the service held in Washington, D.C. Cold weather is on its way, but a warming shelter is ready to take in those looking to escape the cold for the third year. Coming up, we'll tell you how a Rochester shelter is serving our local homeless population.
And you're definitely going to want to grab the jackets as you head out the door this evening. Temperatures will be rather cool. I'll let you know what to expect coming up.
We track storms to alert you first. This is KIMT Storm Team 3, weather coverage you can count on.
If you've stepped outside, it's cooling down quite a bit out there as we get into the evening hours. I'm joined now by Storm Team 3 meteorologist Ryan Knapp. And Ryan, what can we expect for the rest of our weekend into the week?
Well, we're going to start to warm up just a little bit, as by the time we even get into Monday, we could be seeing temperatures close to 70 degrees. So just as quickly as we cooled off, we will warm right back up. Live look over beautiful Med City right now. Blue skies, nice sunset, 57 degrees. Things are looking nice out there for the rest of this evening. They'll also be rather cool as well, as temperatures right now starting to drop into the upper 50s. Not really seeing too many 60s out there anymore. Mankato right now, one of the warmest on the map. Mason City, you're not too far off at 59. Rochester 57, Dodge Center at 55. So we're going to slowly work our way back down to the 30s, similar to what we were last night, but we're going to see some clear skies with that as well, which will really help us cool on off tonight, as we're seeing anywhere between the middle 30s to even the upper 30s. I don't know if we'll see any 40s tonight, but for the most part, the most of us will be into the 30s, potentially giving us the opportunity for some frost as you head out the door tomorrow morning. Thing is, though, winds between 5 and 10 miles per hour. You would expect those to be a little more on the calmer side if you want that frost to occur. So we'll really see how things play out through the rest of this evening. For tomorrow, though, we'll warm up again. We'll see temperatures back into the upper 60s in some spots, even seeing some 70s there on the other side of I-35. Areas like Forest City, Mankato, Gardner, seeing temperatures close to 70 degrees, while most of us will stay into the 60s, really stretching from the warmest being on the other side of I-35 there, and even some of the cooler temperatures being along the Mississippi, St. Charles at around 64 for tomorrow. So temperatures, again, winds coming in from out of the west between 5 to 10, so a nice and calm Sunday on tap for us. As we move into the next couple days, that dry air we've been talking about will really play a role in our forecast, and that's really anything here in this yellow and orange that you're seeing covering the entire viewing area, perhaps even all of Iowa and Minnesota right now, keeping things on the drier side. And that's typically what happens when you see those cold fronts move on through. Once those cold fronts move through, you also get some high pressure that starts to build on in. And that's what we're going to also start to see as we move into not only tomorrow, but by the time we move into next week. High pressure will be a big playing factor as we move into this upcoming week, keeping our temperatures, one, a little bit warmer, but also allowing for us to stay on the drier side till about midweek before those winds start to transition from out of the south, giving us the opportunity for maybe some showers as we approach Wednesday and maybe even Thursday. Behind that, some cooler temperatures as well. You'll see that in the 7-day forecast. For this evening, temperatures going to start to drop from out of the upper 50s down to the lower 50s, and then by around 10 o'clock, starting to make ourselves back into the 40s. Winds coming in from out of the west. Winds as well going to start to die on down as we move to the evening. But still, as I mentioned, if those winds start to die down a little bit more, we could see some frost as we head out the door tomorrow, anywhere between 5 to 10 for the rest of tonight. Temperatures here over the next 14, really even next 2 weeks, are going to be on the warmer side. And this is really that graph from the Climate Prediction Center showing the chance for above average temperatures. And what they represent are percentages. So anything really in this red and orange are showing the percent for us to see above average conditions. So as we push over the next 2 weeks, we are looking like we will see some above average temperatures for this time of year, keeping us on the warmer side of things. 7-day forecast here, though, behind me where the weekend's always in view. Look at that. We warm up as we head into Monday with some cooler conditions by the time we approach late next week.
Rochester's Community Warming Center rang in its third year open with a ribbon-cutting ceremony on Friday. The Warming Center has made an incredible difference for the Med City's most vulnerable residents, giving them a place to stay and get some rest after dark. Coordinator Rudy Newell says for people experiencing homelessness, alleviating some of the worries about where they're going to stay or if they're going to eat makes a huge difference.
To be able to take a hot shower, wash your clothes, all the things that a lot of us just take for granted. And when you eliminate some of those worries, I think it helps you kind of clear your mind as to maybe have a chance to look at some of the barriers that you're going through and what do I need to do to get help.
You can find out how to volunteer or donate items to the Warming Center by visiting the Warming Center's website. An investigation is underway in Minnesota as 2 people were found murdered and the suspect took his own life after a police chase. We'll have the details of the crime coming up. An investigation is underway after 2 men were found dead outside a Culver Township home, and the man suspected of their murders shot himself to death. According to the St. Louis County Sheriff's Office, a father called 911 around 1 a.m. asking deputies to check on his adult son who lived in rural Culver Township. That's north of Brookston. The father arrived at his son's home before authorities, where he found a man's body outside of the home. Shortly after deputies arrived, they found a second body outside. While authorities were responding, a Minnesota State Patrol trooper saw a vehicle moving a few miles away from the scene. The trooper tried to pull the car over, but the driver didn't stop and led authorities on a short chase. The driver later called 911 and confessed to the murders. When the driver did finally stop the car, he shot and killed himself while in the vehicle. Authorities say a motive is not clear at this time. Well, taking a look here locally, vinyls and CDs took over Little Thistle Brewery today as part of the Rochester Record Show. 8 dealers came out today to sell different genres of music. This was the first time event organizer Tim Shiloh hosted a record show since September of 2019. The event began at 10 this morning and ran until 4 this afternoon. The vendors sold all types of music memorabilia from the 1950s until now.
Both my co-promoter and I ended up getting into this because we just love records, and we got to the point where we would have people call us about record collections, and we always ended up with things that we personally didn't need, and we thought, well, what's the best way to move those along to somebody else who will enjoy them?
The Rochester Record Show is scheduled to return to Little Thistle in the spring. We're taking a live look over Rochester on your Saturday evening. Ryan will have another check of the forecast after the break.
Here's a final check at your forecast for tonight. Temperature is going to be on the cool side, clear skies, so would not be surprised to see some frost early tomorrow morning. And the 7-day forecast for the weekend's always in view. We will warm up as we head into next week.
All right, well, thank you for making us your choice for local news. We hope you'll join us tonight for KIMT News 3 at 10.